Hi, John Kuzma from EndZoneBlog.com here, and I want to talk to you about four teams that are on a winning streak right now. The first team up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are riding an eight-game winning streak, and they have the MVP leading candidate in Carson Wentz, who has thrown for 25 touchdowns and only five interceptions on the season. It's been a remarkable year for Wentz, and obviously he has a lot of talent around him, so that helps big time with his own production because he's got guys like Alshon Jeffries and Zach Ertz who both have six touchdowns apiece on the year, who are really helping him create these big plays. As a quarterback, sometimes not sometimes all the time you need receivers who can make a little magic happen on the outsides, and the tight end like Ertz who can work the middle of the field just to develop some good plays. The Eagles also traded for Jay Ajayi. He averaged 13 yards per carry against the Cowboys. So it's pretty obvious that the Eagles were committed to continuously improving the roster throughout the season. We've seen that when they pulled the trigger on the Ajayi deal, and that definitely adds a little bit more pizzazz to their backfield right now. You got LeGarrette Blount back there. Clements is doing well too. So everything's looking good for the Eagles right now. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you got Derek Barnett, who has 4.5 sacks as a rookie. And then you got Brandon Graham, who has 6 sacks as well. So Jim Schwartz is really doing his job on the defensive side of the ball. And collectively, the Eagles are looking pretty good. They're definitely the best team in football right now. And it's because they do get it done in all three phases of the game on offense, on defense, and in special teams. As far as the next team we go, they're also on an eight-game winning streak. That is the New Orleans Saints. Now the Saints have been rolling right now. They probably should have lost last weekend to the Washington Redskins, but somehow they found a way to come up big late in the fourth quarter and steal that game away from the Redskins. Mark Ingram, it all starts with Mark Ingram. He has 806 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns for the year. He's been looking real good. And then they spell Alvin Kamara after Mark Ingram, and Kamara has just under 500 yards rushing for the season, and he's put up 4 touchdowns himself. So they have a great 1-2 punch there. Ingram can power the football, then Kamara can work really good out of the shotgun formations, catching the ball out of the backfield and being more of a scat back. Um, Cameron Jordan, he has 8 sacks on the season as well for the Saints defense, so they're better on the defensive side of the ball. Kenny Vaccaro has 3 interceptions. Marshawn Lattimore has 2 interceptions for the year. So the Saints are playing a little bit of defense this year too, and that's why they're finally a winning football team and actually one of the better teams in the entire league. You know, expect the Saints to make the playoffs for the NFC, and they're going to be a force in the postseason. The next team we're going to talk about, who's on the six-game winning streak, is the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have got it done the same way every year since Mike Zimmer has took over this team. They're going to play rock solid defense, and now they actually are running the football pretty good with Latavius Murray emerging after his injury. But what about Adam Thielen? Adam Thielen has been a star at receiver for this offense. He has just under 1,000 yards for this season. With 6 games left, I have to believe that he is going to crack the 1,000 yards receiving mark. So that's a huge accomplishment in itself. Adam Thielen is one of the best wide receivers in the business, and if you watch that play, I think it was a slant route he ended up taking to the house. You can see this guy just has natural playmaking ability. Continuing on, the last team, the team that gets me most excited to talk about is the Detroit Lions. If you've followed any of my videos, or if you know about EndZoneBlog.com, you know we're located out of the Detroit area, so we get extra excited when the Detroit Lions are on a 3-game win streak because it's kind of rare. Well, actually, it hasn't been as rare since Matthew Stafford took over this team. Stafford is putting together a Pro Bowl caliber year. He has 19 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions for a 98.4 quarterback rating. You know, this was a team that went 0-16 before Matthew Stafford arrived here. The culture was as bad as the Browns is right now and the 49ers, those bottom of the barrel teams. And ever since Stafford has came over, I think he's taken the Lions to the playoff 3 times. And if you can get in this year, 4 times for a team that was historically a doormat football team before he got here, I think that says everything that needs to be said about Matthew Stafford's legacy in Detroit. Someday they're going to build statues of this guy in the Motor City. You have to remember that Stafford was often criticized as, early in his career as being a glass football player because he always got hurt. And he was also criticized a lot by the fans as a guy that just simply couldn't get it done. We know now that's not the case. He's the fastest player to throw for 20,000 yards. He's one of, I think, like 6 or 7 players to throw for 5,000 yards in a season. This guy is undoubtedly the best quarterback the Lions have ever had. He's raising the bar for this franchise. One person that's benefiting off Stafford's outstanding play is Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones has been spectacular with big catch after big catch for the Lions offense. He has 622 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then I think this is the first time I've ever did a or included a kicker in a video blog. So Matthew Trotter, shout out to Matthew Trotter, who's made 21 out of 24 field goals this year. It's his 11th year. He's been outstanding for the Lions. He's pretty much automatic, and they go from Jason Hanson to Matthew Trotter. It's one thing the Lions have always had is good kicking. Finally we have Stafford helping us put everything else together. The defense needs a little bit of work against the run, but if we can get that tuned up too, good things should happen for this team. And the Lions are one game out of the playoffs looking in right now. So